good to know too, thank you. All right, now at this point, are you hearing?
So we're good.
Are we good to go? Audio is good?
Audio is
Check,
good.
check. As they say in the biz,
Do we have Steve and John online or in the waiting room
not at this time.
somewhere?
Matt, how are things in your world?
Oh,
Aren't you in school now? Are you, have your classes started? When are you taking some classes?
I was dipping my toe into the VCU PhD program,
Yeah.
which I'll do at the same time.
Oh,
So that's switched,
okay.
and right now I'm looking to move.
You're looking to move.
Yeah.
You're what?
Like that sort of stuff.
I love John.
Well, so I'm reading this
No, we get so much
Stalin
email.
right now,
I don't know.
and I knew very good, you know, World War II, just battle type stuff. But one of the things that was interesting, they're talking about some stuff that was going on in 1936. Shanghai Shek, it's kidnapped. They were actually thinking about killing him, but Stalin said, no, do it. He said, if they had actually killed him, they might have the change in like the world.
Crozets to
Amazing. The Japanese might have focused on China, just they might never.
I've been to Burma.
Yes.
Which is a great.
Mao probably was ahead.
That's cool.
It's just fascinating. It's like, wow, it's just amazing. When you know, it's so easy to forget that those kinds of events happen.
academic programs.
For some reason, I thought you might find that interesting.
It is interesting.
They always keep thinking if Hitler had made it, if he had been accepted to art school.
Yeah, I mean, all of those kinds of.
And they, what do they talk about
So when
the
do you
cities
think
that he
Soon.
destroyed were
This
the
next
art center
May 16th.
Oh, yeah.
that he was really miffed about. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's true or, you know, that's
Yeah, it's just all of those things. I mean, you sort of think about this, you know, it's hard to get sort of
Any place you want to live.
and the history. And I think there are things that, currents of history that move things, in those kinds of things, you know, somebody dies at the wrong time, and it's the wrong time, or whatever, and how do those things turn out? Or, you know, somebody does something earlier on in Hitler's career, who never,
But at least you
never makes it sort of crazy.
What I'm trying to get through right now is
I don't know what
all about the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Oh,
Yeah.
feel.
the,
Tell me more. I'm not
The-
familiar.
the one,
Yeah,
yeah.
Gets them nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Courage, yeah.
Whereas if you're moving from New
Well,
England,
when I bought
you
this,
have enough,
so
you know.
the reason I read Stalin,
Yeah,
comparable,
yeah.
for sure.
I read an article after the days of Ukraine, author of this book, and I was just sort of given the history of Russia, and then I heard it on NPR. I was like, oh, I don't know anything about Stalin. I've read this book, so buy the book. You know, that's long, you know, for Stalin. Well, it turns out that was just volume 1. That was only like Stalin to 1929. So right now I'm in the second volume, which is 800 pages. It's Stalin, like 1929 to 1941. So I'm having to do the audio book too as I go along, just so that I just can't. I don't have the stamina that I used to in reading. Social, you know, Twitter is like totally killed that. I don't, you know, record like 3 pages. So I found if I listen in the car on the way to work, that helps me make some progress.
I love listening to the car or podcasts or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a great.
I'll sort of go, you know, I'll do a book for a while.
Oh, you have, I had heard news.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Talk about a change of pace.
You had problems. I had a civic center director that
Pushkin Industries, which is my
civic center. My civic center in Vermont.
interviews
That was
startup people about like
12 years ago.
What's
His name is
problem?
David.
Interesting.
And I'll find out if he is still
Um,
working.
you know, we talked about electric airplane.
If he's still working, he would be a really
It's
good
just kind of,
colleague.
you know, what's a big issue, how do you deal with it, stuff like that. It's fascinating.
Very cool.
All right, I'll find out. I can find David.
Did she need a hard copy?
Yeah, how I built it. Yeah, I think it's similar sorts of things, except this one is much more, you know, what's the big thing?
Honda Shadow, it's a cruiser.
Yeah. How do you think about
Big old, big old.
how to work through it and stuff like that.
It's not too big because it is maneuverable. I like to find that sweet spot where it's big enough for stability and highway riding, but still. you
What are you
can
saying?
quickly get out of trouble.
I had a,
Do we have a quorum?
well, in
We
college, I
have Director McNaughton and Director Matola on live.
We do.
Do they count?
No.
Then
Not
I had,
until-
We have.
Kawasaki.
We need
50.
I had a Vulcan for a while too. That
Yeah,
was
so we
a
need
nice
4
one.
years, so.
I got to the point I couldn't get my leg up over the seat. It sits up so high
So
off
we
the
tell
ground.
Mr.
Yeah,
Richardson
that's
he
the other
needs to
thing
be
about the
quiet so we
Shadow.
can
It's a
get
nice
going.
low sound, you know?
But you can hear me grunting all over the place trying to get on.
Hey Jeff, you're distracting our people, we gotta get going here.
Really sorry, sir.
That was my fault. I started the conversation. I'll take the hit on that one.
Sorry.
All right.
We try to run a tight ship here.
Well, may I say, if this is like the airport authority, it's gonna be a tight ship.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, he's a major authority.
All right.
All right, so we've got 2 members who are gonna participate remotely, but we have to go through our remote. So I guess I'll call the meeting to order, and then we need to, what do we need to do, Richie, on the remote?
So actually, we'll take them up individually, but I think we have to, there has to be a motion. Mr. McNaughton has indicated that he would like to participate virtually because of a medical reason, I understand. Am I correct? Yes.
All right.
That's correct.
So there would have to be a motion to allow him to.
I move that he be allowed to participate virtually for medical reasons.
Is it physical or mental?
Don't answer that.
Second the motion.
On advice of counsel, you're advised not to answer the question. Is there a second?
A second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right. And then Mr. Matola.
He has asked to participate virtually because of a business commitment.
Okay. I move that he be allowed to participate virtually as a result of a business commitment. Is there a second? Second. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right. And then, so next is matters from the public. Does anybody sign up to speak? Anybody online?
No, sir.
Okay.
Have we ever had anybody since we adopted that policy?
Since, I've been here since September of 21 and not since I've been here, but I
I think-
can speak for the years before.
We had one time.
We've had a couple.
Yeah, yeah.
We should probably encourage more.
So, approval of the minutes. The minutes were circulated. Are there any comments on the minutes?
If there are any comments, I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. The minutes are
Aye.
approved. And then financial.
Financial report, I'll report that for the period ending 2/28/23, we, for the calendar year, FY, for the fiscal year, excuse me, we have net revenues of negative $45,253.05. That is constituted by operating net revenues, expenditures, $1,038,401.43, combined with pass-through revenue of $1,014,405, excuse me, leaving us with a slightly smaller cash and cash equivalent balance from the last time we met of $868,220.99. If you look at the financial statement, you'll notice that we've started receiving loan repayments from Lewis and Clark and News Guys in recent months. And so that, along with the pass-through funding from special programs, constitutes the bulk of our 1 million plus pass-through revenue.
Are there questions on the financial report?
Just a quick one on Use Guys, because that happened before I was on the board. Briefly, what's that arrangement we have?
So JT, you want to summarize that quickly? They haven't.
So there was an AFID facility grant that was provided, I believe in the 2017-2018 timeframe. As a result of not meeting the performance benchmarks, we needed to claw back the grant that had been provided. So this accounting represents them paying the portion of the grant that was owed based on the amount that they did not meet the performance standards. It's prorated based on.
It wasn't a complete clawback.
That's right.
It was a prorated clawback.
And they have
That's
satisfied a requirement.
Do I remember Roger saying we don't do that like that anymore? We pay after the performance is met around 4%.
That's right. The state and the county have in every instance done their best to make them totally performance based, where no money goes out the door unless performance is already.
So my question about the financial statements is, and I think I noticed this just this month because of the negative balance, but do we have I'm assuming that that's mostly a timing question of
It is.
money that we put out versus money that the Board of Supervisors has passed through money. And I wonder if there's a way for us to track that a little better so we can see.
The ebb and flow.
Yeah, just so that, if we've got money that's gone out and we haven't gotten other, just so we can see what it is. As
Yeah, the
opposed
one
to
thing that doesn't show up in our statement is the past revenue received in that regard, against which we're now
Right.
inching away,
If the Board of Supervisors has provided money for us,
as they
but
have.
outside a different period, we wouldn't necessarily see that. I guess,
And that's what's happened, and that's why we still have a significant cash balance overall, but we've had.
I guess what would like to, so that it's clear that we don't have a sort of operating loss here as to what's going on, because we've really got, but maybe we need to separate it out and treat pass-through money differently than the revenues out of.
Except that that's really the sort of, when you
Bulk
look at
of
the
what-
bulk of our transactions, yeah, that's.
But if we were to change it to a situation where we were generating more EVA revenue as opposed to pass through, it might make sense to think about ways to distract it in the future.
We can work with our finance department to figure out a way to better separate those two.
Yeah, and if you're interested in that, Don, I didn't mention this figure, but it's always worth mentioning too, as a subset of the big numbers, and that is that for the fiscal year so far, our EDA bond fees and interest total about $36,000.
Yeah, I saw that in there. It's just sort of that big negative that I assumed it was mostly just the timing.
It is.
Any other questions? All right. So on to new business. Staff report. JT?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll have an abbreviated staff report today. You can probably notice that Director Roger Johnson is not with us today. So I just have a few announcements that I'd like to make that are coming up. And I'll start with the Piedmont pitch. And Ashley has been leading that effort for our office, so I'll turn it over to her.
Thank you. Yes, so I believe, I may have mentioned this at our last meeting, but the City of Charlottesville and our Economic Development offices are partnering with the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, our neighboring partner here, to put on this Piedmont Pitch, first ever event. I believe there was a really successful one in Scottsville last year that had a lot of really great reports and feedback. But essentially, it's an opportunity for startups and entrepreneurs and small businesses to get out there and practice pitching and practice presenting their business ideas to potential investors. And the grant funding for this award, if you will, for this pitch competition is $15,000. So everyone has an opportunity to pitch for up to $15,000. And there is going to be a big pitch event at the Wolf Factory on May 11th at Salvage Brewery. They've been very, very generous in offering that space to us. And so at 5:30 on May 11th, we'd love for anybody that's listening or here to come check it out and see some really exciting pitches.
I read some places they're moving out.
I did read that myself as well, but it sounds like the good news is it isn't a loss, it's an expansion. So we'll have a continued enjoyment of that space for special events and things of that nature while Salvage has the opportunity to drop their water, to expand and take home up in another county location. So it's kind of a win-win situation there. Yeah.
So what is the criteria for the companies that are?
They need to be located, they have to have a business license by May 1st with either the county or the city, depending on where they plan to operate their business. Startup, general concept, they could have been in business for a few years, but if they're operating under 25,000 a year or so, it's an opportunity just to take part in an education program for the most part and go through the CVS BDC's Business Essentials training and get paired up with one of their advisors there. So they're going out there with the vested tools that they need to succeed.
The grant goes to just one recipient.
The grant is a combination of funding that's been provided by our organization, the city, and the CIC, I think, the Community Investment Collaborative, I think, has kicked in a little bit to get us up to that.
Is there more than one winner? Or is that still
I think that the jury's still out on that final decision.
That was my question.
Yeah, I
So-
think, from my understanding, it wouldn't be diluted to a point where people were getting $1,000. It would be more of maybe a first and second place situation where it would be a reasonable resource to provide to them.
Well, I think it is important to have these businesses practice, because one of the things I've noticed through having heard lots of these pitches is that people who are better at it raise more money. I mean, if people can get up there and they stumble around and they have a hard time talking about what they're in, they can't convey things to them, don't do as well. So the more, what I tell my clients is the more you practice, the better you go.
You'd like to think that the business idea would be the most important at the presentation.
Was there a comment? John, Steve?
None. Thank you. Yep,
Okay.
sounds good.
Thank you.
All right.
Great. Well, the next two bullets are both related to the same event. The Tom Tom Festival is happening this week. It's Wednesday through Friday, mainly here on the downtown mall. And Project Enable talks a lot about the entrepreneurial ecosystem and how important that is. There's a number of events over the next few days that are in support of that ecosystem. Some of our most important partners will be having presentations and events and networking, and we have a few extra passes that we'd like to offer the EDA directors. If you're interested in attending any of those, the schedule is comprehensive. So I think that I would be best served by sending an email to the directors that has a link to everything that's being offered. But there's some that are focused on the target industries of Project Enable that I know Ashley and I are planning to get to. and just wanted to make the EDA directors aware that that's available.
I would be happy to fly the flag, but the schedule was a little confusing because there was so much going on. So I would happily take your advice if you wanted to point me to anything in
Okay.
particular, something that you could, if you can't be in two places at once,
Yeah.
or whatever's helpful for you.
Yeah, same here. I think
Okay, great,
JT, if you don't mind, would you include me on that?
absolutely.
I realize I'm looking at my calendar and I signed up for two things, and I think they're within like a half an hour of each other. That's not gonna work. So let me wrap my head around where I am on that.
Absolutely.
That'd be great, because I agree with you. I was sort of,
A lot.
it was, yeah, and I was accepting a couple of things and not realizing, anyway.
I think the intent is to have a separate conference each of the 3 days, but there is some overlap and it gets pretty confusing.
Yeah, there's a
So-
lot of cultural stuff going on too, so you can catch yourself in a jazz parade if you're not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
There's a Dogwood Memorial Celebration, there's all kinds of stuff going on, yeah.
And then likewise, an update to a previous presenter to the EDA. Back in October, Ravi Rispetto, the chief of the United Way of Greater Charlottesville, was here to talk about the Envision Grant. There will be an announcement formally announcing that program to the community on Friday evening, right outside the Code Building. So all of the EDA, the entire community is invited, but because the EDA had heard those details and provided feedback on that program, I wanted you to be aware of when that particular event was taking place.
So I think in addition to that too, during that announcement, we will have a table set up as a sponsor for the Black Business Social alongside the United Way. So it'll be down there by that stage with all the jazz bands and the DJs and little dancing and whatnot, so.
So everyone's welcome to join that. And that is the end of the staff report. I can take any questions or.
All right.
Sorry, should you go back through the staff report?
I'll fill you in, Doug.
It's right there.
The executive throwing monkey wrenches everywhere.
Actually, I was on the webinar, so sorry I'm late.
All right, so next on the agenda is the Thomas Jefferson Foundation bond amendment. And Curtis Saunders from McGuire Woods is here to talk about term SOFR. So we all look forward to that. And
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thanks for having me tonight and getting us on the agenda so quickly. We really appreciate it. I know the foundation appreciates it, and we at McGuire Woods, who serve as bond counsel, appreciate it as well. So I'm probably telling you what you already know, but back in 2011, the EDA issued bonds that assisted the foundation with refinancing the construction of a visitor and education center at Monticello. And the interest rate on those bonds is based on, or rather calculated based on the LIBOR index, which is going away in June. So of course, we need to make amendments to our original financing documents to replace that index. So the resolution before you approves making those amendments. And just so you know, the new index, it will be based on SOFR, which is a pretty standard index that we're seeing replacing LIBOR. And all of the amendments will be very targeted and only those necessary to make the rate changes in the bond documents. So that's a three-party bond purchase and loan agreement, and then the bonds themselves. And I know it's important to you, so I should point out that all of the protections that were in the original documents will remain. So no liability to the EDA and the indemnification for your members and staff. I think that rather sums up what we're asking for, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
anybody have any questions?
Ms. Sanders, thank you. We had a similar did the same kind of action for another client last month, so we had more discussion and explanation of it then, and I'm good on it now. Thank you.
All right, then if there are no further questions, is there a motion on the resolution to approve? Well, there we go. There's the motion. Someone like to make the motion?
I will move that the EDA adopt the resolution as presented related to the amending of the Series 2011 refunding revenue bond, and to authorize the chair, vice chair, and treasurer to endorse all documents and take any actions described in the resolution to effectuate the amendments.
Is there a
You
second?
did good.
Second. Should we call the roll?
Director Long,
Aye.
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Shreve,
Aye.
Director McNaughton,
Aye.
Director Matola,
Aye.
Director Lawless.
Aye.
Director Morrow.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. Thank you, Ann. Appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
It would not surprise me if we have a bunch of these in the next 2 months.
And then when there's a SOFR scandal equivalent to the LIBOR scandal, then we'll switch to something else.
Well, a little less easy to manipulate than
It
LIBOR
is, yes, yes.
as it turned out. So, next is closed session. So I move that the Albemarle County Economic Development Authority go into a closed meeting as authorized by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia, under subsections 5 and 6, to discuss and consider prospective businesses or industries locating in Albemarle County and or the expansion of an existing Albemarle County business, Project Befriend, Project Fox, and Project Macho, where no previous announcement has been made of their interest in locating or expanding their facilities in Albemarle County, and the investment of public funds to support location or expansion where bargaining is involved, and where, if made public initially, would adversely affect the financial interests of the EDA in Albemarle County. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion carries. So are we moving?
We'll be moving next door to 235.
All right.
And John and Director McNaughton will be on Teams, so we'll start that meeting on Microsoft Teams for you to join us virtually in room 235.
Okay, thank you. Great, thank you.
When we come back, we'll be on TikTok.
Gonna go to the skiff now?
Yes.
Skip a thing that I don't know about. Skip.
Skip.
Skip
Is the
that a
acronym
thing?
for secure.
Oh, okay.
But that's great if you call Mark, that'd be
I
great.
will. Hey. Good seeing you. Good to see you.
Well, I sold them the land. Yeah. And then Blake and I did all of their site work and all of my site work at the same time.
Yeah. My parents are now at the lake in Greenville, South Carolina.
It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Yeah, so we feel very lucky to have them there. It's good.
And the one here is pretty nice too.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yes.
My last to do with Greenville, South Carolina is my brother's oldest son, my nephew, was still in Afghanistan.
everything looked great.
I think so. I'm gonna take a quick peek.
Did those issues come up at the supervisors meetings, like just when you're talking about moving money? Businesses, somewhere, what, maybe Southwood,
Last
something
person
like
gets to
that,
do that.
finding that
Oh,
line,
no.
and just like.
Maybe I set her up, I don't know.
Not really.
These are 50.
You can also.
Yeah.
Nothing came right, it was like a
Yeah.
PDF. I think
Well,
that
and
was
then-
a
and then I
combination
called
of
Given the
issues.
publicity
And I-
around the
you know, I
government
called
thing,
Courtney.
anything you try to leverage.
He said, look, tell us what you want to do, and send stuff.
And all those things out.
I don't see, there's another sample.
I don't think so. You can ask me that, I'm sure she can tell you. That was the most important thing. So we.
Yeah, we're good to go.
We got everybody?
Yes.
All right. So I move that the EDA certify by recorded vote that to the best of each director's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. There is the second.
Sorry.
All right.
Director Long,
Aye.
Director Ray.
Aye.
Director Shreve,
Aye.
Director McNaughton. Is he online? Director McNaughton,
May not have heard the motion.
Director Lawless.
Aye.
Director Morrell.
Yes. And there.
Okay, I'm in aye. I'm also here, aye.
Okay.
All right.
Director McNaughton.
The
Yes.
motion to certify has been adopted.
And Director Long, can I just clarify for the minutes that in terms of Project Macho, which was subject to the closed meeting, that you did not participate in that discussion because of a conflict?
I did not. So, unfinished business, any unfinished business? Other matters? All right, well then I guess we are adjourned. The next meeting is May 16th, although I guess there is some slight possibility we might have a special meeting depending on if there's something to be considered. Is that fair?
It's fair.
All right.
So we'll be right here.
Well, the special
If we-
meeting is interesting because the way we've set up the virtual meetings is that a special meeting could be held virtually.
So if it is a fairly short issue to be considered, we'll do it virtually.
And that would not be in lieu of the May 16th meeting?
No,
it would
no,
be
it'd be
in
a
addition to,
special-
okay.
Log
We
on,
need to
vote one
consider-
thing in just 10 minutes.
If for timing reasons, we need to meet before May 16th. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're getting better and better. You're getting shorter.